All right, welcome to the 2019-20 Carolina Hurricanes shotgun season preview. Let's get started right away with some numbers from last season. In their division, they finished 4th. They got the wild card there for the playoffs. Overall, they were 11th in the league. Offense-wise, they were 16th. Defense, they were tied for 7th. On the power play, they were 20th. Hopefully, they'll improve on this year with a few moves on offense and D. On the power play, on the penalty kill, they were 8th overall. They did pretty well in that category, as well as in the playoffs. So speaking about Don Waddell, their GM, he was nominated for GM of the Year. Of course, that went to was Don Sweeney of the Boston Bruins, but he made a lot of moves, including that steal of Niederreiter from the Minnesota Wild. I won't go on about that. You know all about it. The coach in Rob Brindamore, he was fantastic. I mean, he sort of was the right coach at the right time, taking over, having Justin Williams his lieutenant, so to speak, as those guys had played, being teammates before and are good friends. Justin Williams, of course, is still not back with the team. We don't know if he's going to retire or not. And so let's lead that into a segue about their offense and their forwards. Now, there's been a few changes that the GM made, people on the way out in general. Curtis McElhinney, of course, went to Tampa Bay. Michael Furland went to the Vancouver Canucks. I don't think they're going to really miss him too much because, hey, he didn't really play in the playoffs, right? Did he play at all? And then, of course, was it Justin Falk just got traded to, that was a weird one, the St. Louis Blues. I don't think anyone saw that coming. They got Joel Edmondson in return. They signed UFA Jake Gardner for a bit of a steal, basically what he was making in the years prior, but that's mostly because of his iffy back, and we don't know how he's going to do throughout the year. But with the depth they have on defense, they should be okay, and we'll get to that in a second. So now, looking at overall on their offense, they also, I almost forgot to mention, brought in Ryan Zingle, formerly of the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Ottawa Senators, who could be a sort of sneaky offensive weapon on the left wing there. He's good for probably about 20 goals during the regular season. It's the playoffs he's a bit of a question mark. They brought in Eric Holla for a steal off the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, he came off a huge injury from last year. He only played like 15 games or so. It was a leg injury. But the year before, he was fantastic as a second-line center for the Vegas Golden Knights. So this could be sort of a quiet boom for them as a third-line center. Maybe they even use him as a winger at times. We'll see how that works out because they've got guys who can do both wing or even all three forward positions. And I want to say one of those guys is it Brock McGinn, amongst others, Lucas Wellmark. In any case, so that makes them a pretty deep team. No matter how you want to set up their forward base, their first and second line, and even third, with Martin Necas now as a rookie coming in to probably play in that third or second line wing as a winger. Maybe in the future he could be a center. He could be really good. Svechnikov is probably going to take another step up this year. He could possibly be an elite winger. The way he's been playing, I think he had, 42 or so points in his rookie season last year. And their bottom fourth line guys are all really solid. They're all renaissance men. They can play a lot of different positions. They do special teams. It's been a great group. Now, of course, Justin Williams is gone. Who's going to step up? As this video is being aired, Stahl was just named captain. I think that was a great choice. If anybody, he's the veteran among the group. He's won cups, etc., etc. I think he was a perfect choice. Now, if Williams comes back, I'm not even sure if they have space for him, but they could probably throw him on the third at the very most wing position and see how that goes. But can they keep momentum with the whole, bunch of jerks thing? I don't think they could bring back the whole storm surge. I don't think that would be a good idea. I think they've passed on from that, although it was fun. I think the time that served its purpose, and it's time to go on. Now let's talk about the defense, which has changed a lot in the last month or so. I'm recording this as of the end of September sometime. I want to say the 29th or something. Is it? Yes, it is. And so their defense, especially the left side, has changed drastically. Now, Jacob Slavin and Dougie Hamilton are probably going to run out that first pairing. Maybe it's Jacob Slavin and Brett Pesce. That's possible as well. The second pairing defenseman on the left side looks to be Jake Gardner, who they signed, and they could put either. I would think Pesce would be beside him. That would be a safe bet because Gardner is just not good in the defensive zone, and he just, although he's great at offense and is great at bringing the puck out of his own zone, just when he can really give the puck away at times. He's bad at it, especially when it comes to high-tension games. Putting Brett Pesce beside him is a really smart choice, seeing as how he had like a third highest plus-minus in the NHL. Then we've got Joel Edmondson, who they recently got from the Blues. Probably him on the bottom pairing with Hayden Fleury. And now if Gardner goes out, they've got Jake Bean as a rookie they could probably insert in there. Maybe Edmondson would move up. They've got Gustav Forsling as well. On the right side, I haven't even mentioned Van Riemsdyk, who was injured for a good portion of the year last season. And then there's rookie Jesper Sellgren as well. So we'll see how that dynamic massages its way over the next little while. Goaltending. Now this is the big X factor here, as you could probably say on at least 30% of the teams in the league. But as it was with Calgary, the last team I did, Peter Mrazek had a great season last season. That wasn't his best overall. I want to say it was in Detroit in 2014 or something, somewhere around there. But he, as otherwise, hasn't had a great career. He's had like 2 great seasons when he's played at the most games. I want to say 52, 54. And that's what he'll probably have to play again. Can he do it injury-free? Can he be consistent? That's not, and he's not even the biggest question mark on goaltending because Curtis McElhinney, who was fantastic and a great safety net for this guy, and went to Tampa Bay. Now they have James Reimer. Listen, I really like James Reimer as a person. He was fantastic in Toronto. He was good for the first, I want to say, couple of years. In his last year and a half, though, it was very roller coaster up and down. And in Florida, he kind of wet the bed for the most part. And so I think it's a really risky bringing him up as your 1B when you're expecting him to play at least 30 or more games. Luckily, they do have someone else. They had one of the best goaltender in the AHL last season because the Charles Checkers, their AHL team, won the Calder Cup. Or is it the Calder? I always mix those up. In any case, but that doesn't always translate to a great good goaltender in the NHL. So I'm pretty sure that he'll be moonlighting here and there with the team to get maybe 10 or so starts to see how the guy does. And if James Reimer shows falls back in any way, shape, or form, you could probably see this kid jump into the saddle, and we'll see if he can run with it a la Jordan Binnington as opposed to a la Garrett Sparks, who's now back in the AHL after being traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. They're just over the cap, maybe I want to say 600 or so thousand over, but that's not really a big deal. They can massage that here and there. The UFAs on forward next season, I'm talking about Eric Holla. He's making 2.750. He'll be UFA after next season, as will Brian Gibbons. Whatever, he's a depth guy. The RFAs on forward, you're talking Warren Fogali, Bishop Clark, and Lucas Wallmark. The latter having arbitration rights. Then you have on defense, after next season, Joel Edmondson is going to be a UFA, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk is going to be UFA. Both guys are making below $3.2 million. The two RFAs are Gustav Forsling and Hayden Fleury. And yeah, that's it, and that's all. Do they have anyone on the LTR? No, they don't. Where do I think this team is going to finish? It's so hard to predict in the Metro. A lot of those teams are in flux. I think the Washington Capitals might be the most consistent team out of everyone in there right now. They could finish maybe as possible as high as second, no worse than sixth, I think. I think they're a bubble playoff team, and I know they had a great season. No one thought they could do it last year, but Brind'Amour is going to have to will them through another season and into the playoffs again. and it's in goal. In goal. It just, who knows if it's going to go sideways or if it's going to go great for them, top to bottom starter to back up. I would love, as always, to hear your thoughts and comments in the little box there down below. Please hit like if you like this video. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing.